Let's start with a couple of lunges first, like we've been doing lately. Uh, Keep the racket in your hand, and let's just keep the racket straight in front of us like this, between the palms, and then start lunging. And gradually, we're going to bring it all the way down. So let's not go there yet. Just taking a step, little shuffle in between, taking a step. And if you like to go faster than I'm going, be my guest. I always like these warm-up moves that they also work as a stretch. So that's why I'm not going too fast. So I try to get a little stretch in into my glute and lower back. Especially at the beginning, I feel like these are always the things that you want to kind of like take time with. And start extending your arms as well. So you get a little bit of shoulder motion here. Arms in front of you. It's kind of like finding the balance with a step, and after that, you're still reaching forward. And bit by bit, we're gonna go lower. So you see my racket is now about half a foot above the ground. It's a little bit like below knee level. And now I'm gonna try to get it all the way on the ground. And let's leave the racket on the ground on one step, coming back, and then lift it up when you switch the leg. So bring it down, shift, and shuffle, and back. And see if you can create longer distance between the racket on the floor and your foot. Can you bring it further? And also, like when you step in and pick it up, that you're not getting your foot very close to the racket, but you really kind of force yourself to reach for it. All right. One more pickup. And then keep the racket in your hand. Now we're going to go on the side. So we get that upper body twist, which is so important that when you hit the ball and you lunge, there's a lot of rotation going on. So now we're going to warm up that area as well. So you step in with the right, turn on the outside of the foot, racket down, come back, same on the left side. Step in, rotate the racket. And on your own pace. And here you focus on balance, obviously, keep yourself steady, but really try to get the upper body rotation at the side of the upper body, stretching. It's funny, like for me, I feel like my right side, which I consider stronger side, feels way tighter when I do the same movement. When I step with left foot and rotate to left, I feel like my right side is really tight. And when I go to the other side, I feel the left side is more flexible for some reason. And 2 times, last 2. Okay, shake your legs a little bit. And let's do a couple of squats. So a little bit wider than shoulder width stance. Knees and toes can point out slightly. Keep your arms on the horizontal line, same height with your shoulders. And then drop your bum as if you go on the toilet. And then come up. But when you go down, that will feel that your weight is more on the heels than on the toes. And you really focus on the nice, good, tight core. And I don't know if you're looking, if you can see yourself there as well. One good way to look at these things is that when your head is pretty much on a vertical line when you come down. So it's not going like this. So you're not here. And this is when we later on, when we do these jumps, squat jumps, to try to keep your head on a straight line instead of looking down and looking up. So this is more like a lower back exercise than squat. Okay, good. Shake it off. Let's start stretching a little bit more. So racket behind the back. And now you go all the way down or wherever you feel comfortable going downward. So it can be all the way or a little bit less. Get the racket on the floor or close to your heels. And slowly come up, leaning forward. So this is kind of like push off when you're a ski jumper. Never done that. I'm not that crazy. But at least it feels like it. Then bring your arms overhead and slowly reach forward to get a little shoulder stretch. And then slowly come up and pull away to extend the arms again and get more shoulder stretch here. And down again. And see if you can go on your toes here. It's a nice balance exercise as well. If you're on the toes when you're in a deep squat, heels back down, bum up, arms overhead, shoulder stretch. And slowly up. And arms, pull your arms away. Okay, bring your racket above your head. And the top arm is kind of pulling down. So when you go to your left, the right arm is pulling physically racket down on your left palm. So it works on your lower shoulder. And at the same time, you get a stretch in the other side. And then switch. One more time. And switch. All right. Rest the shoulders a little bit. One arm shoulder rotation without the racket, slowly one direction. Focus on the movement of the shoulder itself. So it's really going up and really going down. And then switch. And then the other side. Big shoulder movement. Really feel like you feel it better when you do it a little bit slower. So you can really lift the shoulder up, go close to your ear. And then when you come down, it really drops down away from your ear. And then switch. And a little side rotation, racket on front of you, between your palms, arms in a 90-degree angle. And then rotate, let's stay there for a while, look over your shoulder. And switch. Okay. Outer hip. Put the right foot on your left knee, over your left knee. Drop your position until you feel stretching your outer hip. And slowly come up and switch. Always good to have a little shake in between, just to get all these little niggles. A bit more loose, more space in the knees. So yeah, if I'm looking at it at the moment, I think one of the safest areas in this country is this club. Well, I'm now not wearing masks because I'm giving the lesson, but everybody's wearing masks all the time, everywhere. They're cleaning, even though there's nobody here, we're cleaning continuously. And yeah, there's not much human contact, so that should mean that it's pretty safe. Okay, a little wrist rotation. And switch direction for the rotation. And then grab your fingers, extend your arm, hit the forearm muscles to length, and then the outside, and also the other arm. Feel like it's all functional. Sometimes when you don't warm up the wrist, for example, after a couple of shots with a cold ball, to me at least, sometimes it's just something kind of like a sharp pain comes in. So it's always good to have a little rotation in the wrist area as well. Okay, today we're gonna start with from scratch. So let's see, the light is a little bit weird. Let me just take a look if I can get more light. Why can I not see myself bigger? Whatever. Okay. You probably will see me well enough. Okay. So what we're going to start with is backhand swing, and just looking into starting with the grip, making sure that you have a nice, correct angle in the racket. So it's even a little change in the grip when you fixate the wrist gives you a weird angle in the racket head. So this is definitely wrong. So you want to, when you start lifting your wrist straight up, you want to have the racket profile aligned with your arm. Or it's not a bad thing to have it a little bit more open on for your forehand, because your backhand is easier to control with the rotation in the wrist, or not rotation, the how do you call the angle again? Well, I'll just call it fixing the wrist. So backhand is kind of easier to do that if you have a very open forehand. But the other way around it, nothing really works well. So if you have a little bit closed forehand, and this is a very, very common thing, common problem in squash players, that they have more like a, let's say, tennis grip, which would be great for topspin. And then they are forced to kind of like open the racket with a lot of wrist rotation, which is not good. So make sure you check that wrist, have that racket in a correct angle. So when you start hitting the ball, you have open backhand, open forehand in an equal way. Okay, so we go to the backhand and imagine the ball. There's no ball, so you have to imagine it still. To give a very light tick on it. So the ball is just in front of you, it's a little bit higher, so there's no real lunge there. And just working on that very smooth movement coming from the forearm and wrist area, just like this. So it's like a quarter rotation. So it's not a, well, this would be half rotation or half a circle. So this is like a quarter circle. So you kind of like stop at the ball. So this shot would be, for example, a easy lob. So you have a little bit of a stop and acceleration in the racket head when you have contact with the ball. So there. Or if you feed the ball, like what I do a lot, it's like hit. And this shot would kind of like, if I hit it from the back court, it will probably come into the service box. But if you play this shot at the front, high up on the front wall, it'll go up. And so we're just looking at the mechanics here. So it's important to get that rotation, looking at from the front side, getting that contact there. And as you can see that the arm is extending before the rotations. It's always extension, rotation. Elbow is not really high up because it's not a volley, so it's kind of loose. My shoulder is loose. But the racket head is doing the most work. And now we're going to add half backswing. So arm goes up. If you look at only the arm motion, goes up here. So it's close to the shoulder height with your hand. So this is the new part for the swing. So you go up, and also the similar height on the other side. So you can go a little bit more further with your follow through. So there, and do it with a step. And remember to feel that start movement. So this is what you did first. So try to get that one in. Feel it clearly in this one as well. So step in. So when you see somebody hitting really nice shot, it looks super, super relaxed. So try to feel those shoulders. This is for me also difficult because I'm very tense as a player, super relaxed as a person, obviously. But but for me, this is also a good schooling, like really focus on my shoulders and relaxing them. It's like doing some yoga poses where you're like really tense, and then the teacher says like, okay, relax, drop the shoulders. It's the same with this one. There's a bit of a core tension, obviously, to work on the rotation. And bit by bit, we're going to add more backswing. So nothing else changes. So the movement, the rotation, it's all relaxed. It's all same speed. But now your arm goes a little bit higher. So you see that I was here, now I'm here. So this is the extra vertical part. So it looks like this from the front of the court. So I'm here. So you see the hand is about my eye height now when I start. And obviously the first move is come down and I start opening. So my racket is not open at this point. It could be. Some people like to keep it like this. It's causes a lot of tension in the wrist. So I like to keep it a little bit more facing the sidewall. And then when I come down, it more naturally opens. So I get my knuckles on top, which means the racket is open. So coming down from here, open, acceleration. And really try to make this work with gravity, because that's your biggest help here. Loose shoulder, no pulling down, no pulling forward. Racket head and racket weight is really doing the work. And you pretty much feel it when it's good, because then it feels super relaxed. It's like, hey, my arm is just going from backswing to follow through, and it just goes by itself, but you still hear the racket very clearly. So if the racket head is making that swoosh sound, that's great. Because that's the ideal combination, that your body is relaxed, but you still hit the ball 200 miles per hour. So try to feel especially the shoulder muscles, that there's really not much going on in your shoulder. Let me take a look at you guys. Yeah, keep going. Good. Really, yeah, it's like a dance. There's a rhythm there. Smooth, very good. Okay, good. That looks good. So let's go to the other side and start with a couple of these little lobs. So if I would have a ball, would start from here, little tick, and this movement would, when going high on the front wall, it would probably give me a reasonable lob. So again, open racket face, tick, and that's it. Just getting that really smooth, and try to feel that your elbow is heavy and kind of, not even heavy, but it's like more like very rubbery. It's very loose. As if you want to throw a ball fast, your elbow needs to be very fluent, because if it's stiff, it just hurts your shoulder. You want to make it very, very smooth. And that's good. So let's add the half swing. So get your hand about on the height of the shoulder, dropping it down. So again, butt leads, extended arm. And just when you're down there, very smoothly, racket head takes over. So also the follow through gets bigger. And you probably can feel it here as well, that now with this half swing, or let's say basic swing, probably a better word for it, your upper body on the forehand is not working that much. There is a rotation, but it's definitely not to compare or comparable with the backhand. So it's a less movement there. Try to feel that looseness in the shoulder, shoulder and elbow. So the elbow feels different on the forehand. It's kind of more important on the forehand side to get that elbow coming down, because otherwise your racket doesn't open up well. On the backhand side, it automatically leads. It's very difficult not to let your elbow lead on the backhand. But forehand, people sometimes are late with the elbow, so their arm stays like this, like a chicken wing, like when I play golf. So you want to get that elbow forward in order to extend your arm. And bit by bit, let's go higher. So higher backswing on the forehand side is kind of more natural, perhaps more easy to do. So what you do is elbow starts to go up. And now you see my hand is way above my head, especially if I start rotating my upper body, it's really high up there. So that's what we try to do. So we get that upper body rotating. You see the elbow is up there. And as you see again, my racket is closed now. So it's not coming down like this. So I'm not hitting the ball with the closed racket face. So as soon as my elbow comes in, racket opens. So you have this loop for the racket head. So from the side looks like this. Opening, and now the acceleration, and there you go. So again, there are different backswing techniques. Some people like to keep it open all the way. They never close the racket. Some people are very elbowish. You go like this. So you get a huge loop in there. And a lot of people are somewhere in between like me. So the idea is that you really get that elbow working loosely to get that racket head in the right position, but also to create racket head speed. If your elbow is really stiff, the racket head is not moving. So you want to get that smooth racket head. And one way to look at it is like if you have those flat stones and you want to throw them on the water to jump, that's the movement with the elbow. That's the way you want to get that racket in the right place. And now you can get with the bigger backswing, you can get more upper body involved. It's more shoulder work, more shoulder work. Okay, so let's start with let's continue with the biggest possible plus most relaxed possible backswing on both sides. So stand wide enough to have good balance, but it allow yourself to rotate with your upper body. So if you look at my head again, it's pretty steady, but I can hit my backhand from here and forehand from here. So only thing I try to kind of like accomplish here is to find that balance between having a good tight core. So if I'm hitting the ball and somebody would give me a push, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not out of balance. I'm not loose or having a bad posture. So I'm strong in the middle, but my arms are relaxed because they get speedier. They get faster when they are more relaxed. So really focus on the looseness in the elbows and shoulders when you start hitting the ball. So you go forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand, forehand, backhand. And the less you squeeze the racket, the faster your arm can get. If you have really, really tight grip, it might be trickier. And what I like to do with this one, I'm looking down and there's a spot. So I imagine that ball there, and that gives me a really good target to time my acceleration. So I get the racket head in the right position, at the right time. Okay, let's do the same in a squat. So go into a lower position. So you're kind of pretty much in a full squat, wide one, really wide because you need the balance, and start rotating. And if you feel like your knees are not comfortable here, go a little bit higher up. Okay, good. So a little break, get some water, and we start moving a bit more. Let's see. Get the markers. course, don't need it yet. Okay. So full motion forward. If you have space, you take 3 steps. So it's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, about, what do I say, 10 foot distance, about 3 meters, 10 feet. And if you don't have that space, then you do it with less. And keep alternating the sides. So you keep moving towards the ball, full lunge, which means pretty much something like this. Swing, hold the balance, so don't come up with the swing. Stay down, come up after the swing, and switch. So this is what you're gonna do. Forehand, back to the tee. Backhand, back to the tee. So we're gonna definitely go at a higher pace and try to get the heart rate up here. So that's the new part. But for the technical part, you still try to create that big swing that even though your feet are going 10 times faster, your upper body is relaxed, okay? So don't rush the swing, keep it big. We're gonna go 2 minutes, so it's gonna be heavy. And go. Clearly, a strong lunge forward. Upper body low. So when you make that swing big enough, I am talking about the backswing and the follow through. And you want to stay down balanced while you swing to make sure on both sides you're in a good balanced position to use that bigger swing. And really with your eyes, try to find that target that you're going after, because that makes a difference in the intensity. There's a purpose, there's a goal that you're gonna go for, and then you hit it. The halfway. So before you start lunging, make sure your upper body is already, your backswing is already up there. So with the first step, you start to get your backswing up, so you can take more time for the swing itself. You're all looking pretty sound, that's good. Really try to find that relaxed upper body, create that racket head speed. And always important when you swing, while you swing down, your foot really goes through the floor. It really gives you that great control and balance. Okay, we are over 2 minute mark. So now we're gonna keep raising the heart rate. Let's see, where are we now? Okay, so knees up. So your standard, your T-point position is this. And I say, backhand, you hit the backhand, you go back. Forehand, go back. Okay, ready, and go. Backhand. Forehand. Forehand. Nice. Looking good, looking good. Keep those knees up, guys. Backhand. Backhand. Forehand. Backhand. Forehand. Back to the tee. Forehand again. Okay, so now we're gonna go to squat jumps. And when you're on the T, so T point is racket flat on the toes, gaze up, so you keep looking at me. That's your basic. When I say backhand, you hit 2 shots. You go full lunge, you take a step back, you volley the same side. Forehand, same thing. Forehand, full lunge, come back, volley. And then you go back. So always big shot, low, knee high, step back, volley, shoulder high. Okay? Ready? And go. Touch the toes, touch the toes. Backhand. Big swing, and volley, and toes. Forehand. Big swing, quick volley afterwards. Back to the tee. Backhand, big shot, step back, volley straight. Toes. Forehand, big swing, step back, volley. Back to the tee. Backhand, step in, step back, volley straight, and tee point. Toes. Make sure your arms go up when you jump. Legs are getting heavy. Forehand, big swing, step back, volley straight. Nice. Toes. Woo. Got 2 more shots to go. Woo. Forehand, big swing, step forward, volley. Toes. Backhand, big swing, step back, volley. All right. Little break. Good job, guys. Woo. Let's have a 90-second break here. Get the water. Whew. I don't know how I get you guys tired. Feels impossible. I'm kind of secretly hoping that I see like slower motion or somebody's going like, oh, I can't do it. None of that. I only see this. Or are you so high tech that you actually manipulate the picture and you just replay it after jumping twice and then you just play replay and you're sitting on a couch? Could be answer, I don't know. Anyways, good job. That's what I tried to say here. Okay, let's start on the ground. We don't need the racket. So get something soft for your knees. All right, so let's start with the push-ups. And we talked about these push-ups with Leaf earlier. So it's really not mandatory to go on your knees. I guess it's partly that I just try to find a middle way that works for everybody. When you're on your knees, it's kind of like the adjustment in where your arms go. Like if I'm wider, it's easier. When I'm a little bit more out, it's easier. When I get really close to my belly here, and then keep my elbows close to the body, it becomes fairly heavy. So you can really adjust accordingly. But if you want to be here and go, that's fine as well. Nothing wrong with that. That's great. Okay, so slow motion push-ups. You can find different things here to practice. What I do normally is keep it tight, keep it narrow. So I work mostly on my triceps here. But you can go a little bit wider and start working more on the shoulders and also more your pack, more your chest. Up to you. Ideally, you go slow all the time. And you can even have a little hold down at the bottom if you like, just to make it extra nice. Okay, ready? 1 minute and go. And always good to focus on your breathing here. No rushing. Halfway. Good, 10 seconds. Okay, go on your back, lie on your back. And first what we're gonna do a couple of different things here just to work on the abs a bit more today. Make sure your lower back is attached to the floor. It's not hollow or whatever you call it. You can keep your arms on the side if you like. Keep your chin on your chest and bring your legs just a little bit off the ground. So you go a little pump, just a couple of inches. So not going all the way up because that gives you an easy break up there. So you keep the tension throughout. And if it feels uncomfortable in your lower back or your whatever joints, your hip area, you can bend your knees a little bit. Might make a difference. Obviously, the closer you get your feet to your upper body, the less weight there is, so the easier it gets. So you can adjust accordingly. If you feel like, hey, this is too heavy, bend your legs so you get your knees higher and you can keep going. Looking good, guys. Okay, put your feet on the ground. Just lie there for a second. And we're gonna stay on the back, on our backs. And now you do the same in a V form. So now you need your arms slightly wider. So you're gonna go, so from left down to right. So a little, like your feet are riding a little V. Ready, go. If you need to get the heels on the ground at the point, it's okay. It's tougher if you don't. You see that the wider your V is, the more it starts to get to your side abs. "15 seconds, guys. Put your feet on the ground, stay on your back, and breathe. So one more. And this third one is the one we normally do. So you bring your opposite elbow and knee to touch or close. So upper body rotates with the elbow and knee comes up. Okay, ready? Go. And if it feels too heavy now, especially after those couple of exercises before, then you can either do only your elbows, just rotation of the upper body, little crunch, or you only do your legs and leave your arms out of it. I definitely feel the difference now, this being already like the third minute. 10 seconds. Okay. Turn on, stay on the ground and go on your knees. So this is going to be the reptile, which we obviously all know very well. And get into plank. And 1 minute reptiles. So bring the knee to your elbow. "30 seconds. This will finish our abs quite well. 5 seconds. And come up. Lateral jumps, skating jumps in the tunnel, upper body low, touch the toe. 1 minute. Really focusing on keeping yourself compact. Here we can give a little rest to our abs, so it's a bit more glutes, lower back, to work with those guys. The lower you go, the more your glutes are involved. And squats, touch the toes. Keep your gaze up. Arms all the way up. Touch the ceiling. Knees up. Looking good, guys. Okay, keep going with knees up. When I say down, you do push-up or plank. Down. 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 And stop. All right. A little break. Whew, good job. Get some water.
I gotta go. I'll see you Friday.
See you Friday, 12 o'clock. Great.
Okay.
Okay, guys, little 4-minute push, and then we end up with a little stretching. Okay. All right, ready? So we're gonna go lunge, lunge, push up, toe jump. Okay, so you lunge one foot, touch the floor, lunge the other, touch the toes. Oh, sorry, go down on a push up and come up with a toe jump. Okay, 1 minute, ready, go. And tunnel jumps, oh, sorry, lateral jumps, skating. Touch the toes. Keep your head low. Fifteen seconds. Reptile. Ten seconds. Slow-mo push-ups. Knees soft on the ground or not. Go. Keep the tension at all times. Fifteen seconds. Stand up. Deep squat jump. 1 minute. Go. Fifteen seconds. Time.